hope it's public. Let me see. Safari. Edit. Oh, yeah, it's on private. Wow. Save. All right, so this thing should be getting live
like
soon. And it is. Okay. Oh, okay. We're live now. My bad, guys. It was on private, but we got that situated. But here we are, man. It's been 2 weeks since we had an RFL podcast, man. I know you guys were waiting for it and hoping for it yesterday, but we had a lot of things going on. I was a little bit still behind on some graphics. Bill had, allergic stuff going on, so didn't want to have him hop on, and he's busy today too. So what we do have though, we have a special guest here, my co-commentator, and the big games, of course, during the playoffs and everything. We got Rob Roby in the building, man. How you doing?
Oh man, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good, man. Happy to be able to fill in for the allergic reactive Bill right now.
All right, so we'll be without Billy Antes, but hey, the show must go on as the RFL is ready to once again reintroduce the RFL podcast, where we give you the latest news of what's been going on around the league. And first, we're going to start off with, of course, the bowl games, man. We didn't have any podcasts during those times. And so let's go ahead and recap the bowl games that we had. I might as well wait for people to come in because now they're starting to come in. And that was actually my fault to begin with. Excuse me. Let's see if I can probably tweet
sure
this
they
out.
can hear me too, since I'm on. I'm all the way in Hawaii right now, man. Waiting on the draft. So I'm on a really cheap phone right now, guys. I got a burnout phone right now, and I'm calling in. So my voice probably sounds terrible.
Stephen A with it, man.
It's all
So
good.
let me see.
I'm out here on the beach. We got the huts going on here, seashells everywhere, no power lines.
Right. Basic Hawaii setting.
Yeah, I had to call the Skype Skype in, and then pay a whole bunch of money to call Commissioner Smitty here, man. So hopefully these guys can hear me right now. I'm sorry if you hear a tidal wave. And Mick got drifted off the sea, guys. So.
Well, either way, man, glad to have you on here, man. It's always good to have somebody on here with me, man. Bill does a great job, and I know you're going to do a great job here with this podcast. And it seems like more people wrote. Look, we got 22 people in here. Good thing, because for a second there, I thought it was going to kick us out since it was private. Not notify people since it was private. But hey, we're live, and people are in. Let's talk about what has happened throughout these past 2 to 3 weeks. We started off our last podcast, recapped all the way up to the playoffs, up until the bowl games. And so we start at the bowl game that kicked everything off bowl related. And that was the Senior Bowl, the RFL College Series Bowl that we had. Man, it was the East versus the West. Coach Rummel going up against Coach Baker. And man, it was a great game. Excellent game. Final score of that one, 45-42. And man, just what was your thoughts on that game?
Oh, well, being behind the scenes on that one, man, I was really impressed with just the gameplay of both of the teams. Both of those coaches, they set up some really great playbooks on offense, and I thought that, that was a step forward for not just those coaches, man, but also for the RFL in general. I'm really, really happy and pleased as far as, I know we're trying to migrate over to the PC and stuff. So I was really happy about just the way the overall game played. I know we have, to put our sliders in, and obviously you have to put yours in. So it was a slugfest, 45-42, man. All those points put up 87 total points. But getting into what you said about what really, I guess, stood out to me, man, well, a couple of things. Obviously, Geno Gannon. The performance by this guy was just amazing, man. I mean, you can see it here, 23 of 25, 330 yards, 4 touchdowns. The guy was just amazing. The numbers are one thing, but just to actually see this guy in his element, just raw against a nice defense, and he just seemed like the Terminator. He was unstoppable. On the other side of that, I saw the work from all the quarterbacks really. In this game here, man. I just really thought that Obviously, Geno stood out with the 158.3 rating. The other next behind him was Crockett with a 131.6 rating, and then Marquise Washington 125.8, and then Parker Thomas. But I think the story of the day there was Geno Gannon. I'm not going to leave out Parker Thomas. Guys had an excellent game toward the end. There, holding on to that game there, going down, getting a win off the scramble into the end zone. That was awesome. But yeah, man, there's so many storylines in this game here. Unfortunately, the running game was non-existent, and I think that shows you what happens when you have a coach. When you have a coach who, first of all, is looking to pass first, and you have a quarterback who not only can pass but can run. And I think that totally affects your team there. But I won't get too far into that discussion right there. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just awesome day, man. Awesome day.
Yeah, this was an excellent game. I mean, I knew it was going to be a great game because, once again, we get to see for one more time, these college series prospects on the field again. And so I knew they were going to give it their best. And, man, they absolutely did. Geno Gannon, like you said, player of the game. And those stats that you talk about, 23 to 25, that's incredible. 333 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's like the stat line of an entire game. Geno Gannon got that done in just the first half alone. And that right there just goes to show you the ability, because this also answered a lot of questions about this kid. One thing we knew about Geno Gannon, he had the dual threat ability. He scrambled a lot in college at LSU. But the thing that made the difference in this game that really put him out there for the coaches in the RFL is that he did not take the scrambling approach. He actually went out there and showed his ability to throw the football, which was something that he really didn't do too well. And honestly, in college, especially his first year, he had a couple of really bad missed passes. But in that game, he was just flat out on, and only 2 missed passes out of 25. That was incredible. With 4 touchdowns, that speaks for itself. And of course, he had a monster wide receiver out there to throw to who led his team and led the entire game with the most receiving yards off of 8 catches. Carlton Scruggs, 124 yards out of Ole Miss, had a touchdown. And, while Geno Gannon did that with his arm, Marquise Washington took the same approach like Geno Gannon, because it was the opposite effect. Marquise Washington showed his ability to throw the football in college, and he didn't really scramble all too much, even though he did scramble a good deal, but he mainly got notarized for his ability to throw the football and accurately. But instead, he wanted to show his dual threat ability in this game, and he actually scrambled 5 times, but in his first half, he really didn't get to throw the ball much. And, 5 carries for 38 yards and a rushing touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns in the game, 10 and 14. 136 yards, had a passing touchdown. So Marquise Washington, despite not having as high as a statistical game as Geno Gannon, he definitely showed his worth as being a dual threat. Now, with that also being said, we also had some other noticeable players out there on the field. But before I get into mine, is there any other guys that you noticed that really stood out in this Senior Bowl?
Yeah, man. Well, as always, I think we're in sync, man. When you were talking about other notable guys, man, how about those receivers for the East, man? Jeez. Guys, 3 guys approaching double-digit, numbers over, 100 yards per receiver, except for Roy Kincaid. But I mean, man, Billingsley, what was it? 8 receptions, 110 yards. Scruggs, 8 for 124, as you can see here on the screen here, and Kincaid, 7 receptions for 86 yards, man. All of them had touchdowns. Checking into the draft. Yeah. You gotta love that, man.
Yeah, this big-time performance by those receivers and everything. You know who else stood out? May not have had a statistical game. Well, honestly, they did, but they didn't get the football too much. I really liked the second-half running backs for both teams. Tristan Price showed the ability to make big plays. He really didn't get to do that at West Virginia. We already knew the situation. He was splitting carries, which, after he transferred from Florida State over there, really didn't use him too much. But 5 carries for 50 yards. That's 10 yards per carry. That's very impressive. And then Gunnar Witt out of Wisconsin, he came in, put on a show as well. 8 carries, 55 yards. He had 2 touchdowns himself. So those backup running backs really kind of put themselves a little bit up there on the draft board as well. Other guys to talk about, Drew Brewer, he had a quiet game. And the reason why he had a quiet game, honestly, I believe it was Saxton who was out there putting in work, man. He did an excellent job on blocking him the entire game. Did not make an impact whatsoever in the game. So that goes to show you, man, that might be somebody to look out for right there. I mean, to hold the league's, of course, the College Series best defensive player that was on that line and just fizzle him out the entire first half. Just could not do anything. But man, this entire senior bowl, the College Series Bowl, lived up to the hype, man. Another impressive person to talk about is Kevin Crockett, man. Kevin Crockett, I mean, he almost led the comeback, just couldn't get it done due to Parker Thomas able to lead in the last drive of the game to win the game for his team. But for the most part, Kevin Crockett, he shows a lot of promise as well. But man, it was a great College Series Bowl, that's for sure.
Oh yes, definitely was.
We'll talk more about these guys coming up in for the upcoming draft, but we're going to move on now to the next game, which was the next bowl game after this, the day after. It is the Pro Bowl, and of course we had the rebranding, renaming, and of the new uniforms. Great performance, a great job, of course, done by you guys, Rob, and just creating that whole mod and creating this unique look for our new, look at the future and our new branding of the conferences as the ARC took on the NRC. And, well, I said for the fourth time in that game, but it was actually for the third time when I went and looked back. But the ARC, once again, knocks down the NRC. Final score 28-21. What's your takeaways from this game?
Oh, man, that was just a beautiful game, obviously coached by myself and Coach Kozira. Obviously a very good defensive game between the two. I mean, these are the best players here, so you expect that game to be somewhat close. Obviously pulling for the ARC there. I thought we had a pretty great day. The defense was just phenomenal and everything. But I mean, what can you say when you got a 99 defense on both sides? But a really great. I thought it was a really great game, and kind of. The most things I look for, in those games are, how players are going to perform in certain matchups and everything. I'm not to talk too long because I don't want to take everything away from you, but I thought that like the play that really got me on my heels, man, was when I saw that pass from Dre Crowell, the 35-yard pass to Keith Guyton, man, across the middle of the field, man. That was just awesome for that score there in the first quarter, and I was like, oh boy, this is about to turn up and get really crazy here, man. And just the overall matchups and everything, I thought were pretty good there in that game.
Yeah, it was definitely a more defensive game than we were accustomed to seeing. I believe the first Pro Bowl that we had, which was not on Madden, it was on NCAA, was the same score, if I'm not mistaken, with the NRC winning their only game. But of course, they've never beat the ARC in a Madden competitive game. But talking about this, like you said, I would say like the biggest play was Dre Crowell connecting with Keith Guyton, two Ohio State guys, never got to play with each other, of course, because of age, but there they are playing in the Pro Bowl, making huge plays. Keith Guyton led the ARC in receiving yards, 91 yards off of 4 catches for a touchdown, and Dre Crowell only throwing 18 passes, completing 12 for 140 and a touchdown, which was to Keith Guyton. The run game, pretty much, it was a good defensive game. I think the defenses on both sides really came out here to play. Honestly, I think that was the hardest hitting Pro Bowl that we have had, man. There was so many big hits in that game. It was just ridiculous. All the X factors and superstar guys were just putting guys to sleep left and right, and I just could not see big plays getting made like that. But an excellent Pro Bowl game. Not really too much to say else about this one, but an entertaining one to watch for sure. Still competitive.
And we don't want to forget the Tavion Hall, man. I mean,
oh yeah,
man. I mean, he only had. I know it says 11 rushes, 60 yards, guys, but I saw this guy running through and juking. These are all pros, man. You know what I mean? We're talking about here. And this guy is just running through guys, juking guys, outrunning guys, and everything. So a hard-fought 60 yards for him against the 99 overall defense, man. Great game from him.
Absolute beast, man. I mean, that guy first year in the league as a free agent, and leads the league in rushing. A lot in the future for that kid, that's for sure. And for the Desperados, hopefully they build on that for next year. Can't wait to see what they do. But moving on to, of course, the big game, the biggest game of the year, the Relocation Bowl. Everyone was excited to see how this one was going to be, and I think that this game definitely lived up to the hype. But the Red Dragons, man, they get it done. I mean, this team, we're going to talk more about them later on after this, but I mean, the Red Dragons able to defeat the Explorers and win their second Relocation Bowl, first team in RFL history to do so, with a final score of 40-24. You can hop in, Rob.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man. So, my bad.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, definitely a huge game, man. I mean, bro, 1,200 yards of total yards gained in this game here. Just absolutely ridiculous.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I mean, it just felt like, no shade to Columbus, but it just felt like San Diego's year. It felt like San Diego when they came in. The moment they came in that first drive, they went down, scored. They just were in full control of this ball game, the entire game, and it showed. It showed down the line, and obviously, the poor play from Worrell, with the 4 interceptions, and I mean, come on, man, a 48.8 rating. Only 267 yards, managed to get a touchdown, but I mean, wasn't sacked at all, which is kind of interesting. But it's just like the pressure was there. They had a ton of pressure, and he also was doing a lot of gambling. He was throwing into triple coverage, double coverage down the field. I'm pretty sure they had not planned for that. And, it just seemed like the defense of San Diego was ready for it. Anytime that Worrell seemed to get into a groove, San Diego shut it down. Guys stepping up, making plays. I mean, the play from Williamson, the interception. I mean, that was a strong arm robbery from that he took from Worrell there for a first down, and just the obviously the hits and the rattle and everything, and just not being able to really establish much of anything, for the game other than the play from Ferrazzi Crazy with the 97 yards on the ground. But it was kind of interesting to just to see San Diego just totally dominate in several areas, of that game on offense and defense, man. I mean, again, Nanadino, 131 yards on the ground, Savoy, 118 yards on the ground. They have not been beat. They don't get beat when both of those guys have that many rushing yards on the ground, So just a great game, by both of them.
And then you talk about Anthony Savoy. I mean, this is one thing that's so impressive about this kid. He only had 186 yards passing, but you talk about the 118 yards he had rushing as well. That alone had him over 300 yards of offense. And he had 2 touchdowns. One thing that really stood out in this game, the first drive of the game, I already knew that this kid was locked and loaded, because the very first drive, he takes this team down the field with ease and scores the touchdown with a beautiful sideline pass. It was a great catch by Andrew McIntosh to really get things started off. And the Red Dragons were flying because after that, interception thrown by Worrell in the very first pass attempt. And then the next drive after that, another interception trying to test the defense deep. And we already know the Red Dragons have made a name for themselves in this league for top-tier defense. They won their first Relocation Bowl because of how great their defense was. And I know I had my debate with Bill talking about defense and offense and things like that. Hey, but that was the Red Dragons' case. I can agree with that. The Red Dragons, they definitely got it done because of how great their defense was, because it overmatched anybody's offense in that case. The Explorers had opportunities that I think kind of got shut down because of the aggressiveness of Worrell trying to make big plays with C.J. Robinson. And C.J. Robinson just could not, he didn't even get the chance to really make a play because Worrell, nobody really looks at the stats sometimes in terms of attributes, but Worrell, he's only got a 79 attribute deep ball. He's not going to be good at completing those deep balls down the field. And he tried early, and it really cost him early on in this game. But one thing I can say is those 2 interceptions, although bad and put them down, did not actually technically cost them this game. The game, what cost them was the interceptions later on, because the Explorers were actually able to rally back and take the lead 16-17. So I mean, this at that point, it was a ball game. But Anthony Savoy and the offense just kept coming, man. I mean, they honestly, the Explorers, we look at the Roberto Ninadino yards right here, but honestly, the Explorers absolutely shut down the running game throughout the entire game. But Ninadino towards the end, I guess we say in garbage time, started to really break out some big runs and things like that. But other than that, like you said, the Red Dragons really controlled this game. They did a great job on defense. They applied pressure, took advantage of every opportunity that Worrell tried to test them. I mean, the biggest play to me of this game was the forced fumble caused by Derek Williamson. ripped it straight out of Courtney Mitchell's hands, and of course the player of the game. This is another topic that I'm surprised I didn't talk about on this, but the player of the game, the MVP, Avante Celestin, started out with the first turnover with the interception on the first pass play, and he had to scoop and score off of that fumble. And, I mean, the kid was just phenomenal, but that is not the only big thing on why he won that. He absolutely did a great job shutting down C.J. Robinson. And I would have to say he did because, I mean, even though he was overthrown those first two passes and things like that, the times that he had an opportunity to catch the ball, Avante Celestin was there, broke up the ball quite a few times, and one of them led to another interception. And so the Red Dragons were just full out prepared on defense, and they were just ready to rock and roll, and they took advantage of every opportunity, man. And Anthony Savoy, once again, the storyline, I say the player, the MVP of season 5, man. He just really stood out the entire year as a rookie, just coming in and dominating in the RFL, and that's what you want to see, man. I can't wait to see what he does next year. But man, the Red Dragons, another thing, and we talk about it all the time. First team to win 2 Relocation Bowls, but this team still has not lost a single playoff game. So that alone lets you know about the Red Dragons, and that's what's going to move us on to our next topic here. And I got a little video for this. This is the only video I was able to make up for this. But the Red Dragons, let's talk about this team because first team to win 2 Relocation Bowls, but also, I mean, 7-0, like we said. Is this team a dynasty in the RFL right now? What is your opinions on that?
I'm gonna tell you, man, from a coach's perspective, you know, just looking at the Red Dragons, I've faced them twice this season. If you remember those games, and man, this team is just so difficult to stop. You know, you plan for one thing, they do another. You plan for both of those things, they find a way to beat you. You know what I mean? And it's just I watched every single game. I called a lot of those games, as you know, this season. And you know, man, you know, dynasty is a big word. You know, a big word to say that. You know, but I'm gonna tell you, man, this is one form right here. Obviously, the history that this organization has, 7-0, and you know, in the postseason, and they have a chip now, and it's just, you know, when I'm thinking about this, man, you know, I'm kind of, you know, wondering if this is the new team, man, the team to beat, you know, and I don't want to speak too early, you know, but I don't want to take credit away from this team as well. But there are just so many different things this team was able to do this season that were just kind of like totally unexpected, man. I mean, let's just go back to the AFC Championship game against the Cougars, man. Cougars had that game won, man. Four interceptions, you know what I mean? Like 4 interceptions out there, no Celestin, right? And we're out there, and we're shutting those guys down, man. And everybody's like, "Oh, the Cougars got this. Oh boy, Cougars about to win a chip." And man, you see that last drive? You know what I mean? Just went down the field like it was nothing, you know. And and I've seen that. I've seen that all season long. There's coaches in the chat right now that I'm pretty sure they felt that, you know, on Twitch TV, man. They felt that on YouTube, and it's, you know, it's just remarkable, you know, what this team was able to accomplish, man. The depth that they have at running back, even with the injuries to Popo. I mean, these guys got a premier back that was injured half the season, and they still won a Relocation Bowl, you know. And you know, they had Bobby Boucher, right? He was injured, you know, for the remaining of the postseason and stuff. And I mean, they still had guys stepping up and making plays. Dynasty, man. I think this team is definitely one in the making right now. And I'm not just saying that because Coach Davis is a friend of mine, man. You know, but I do think that this team is onto something right here, man. It's just gonna be a tough team to stop, man. If you're a coach in the ARC right now.
Yeah, my take on this point of view of the Red Dragons, because let's think about it, this team in general is just really good. Pretty much has been the same team since they first won the Relocation Bowl. The biggest difference is the quarterback. They had Joey Lewig, still won a Relocation Bowl, but I've always said that if this team got the right quarterback, that this would be a team that could get themselves right back into the playoff conversation and win multiple Relocation Bowls, and they have not lost since. You know, I mean, they won without a coach, and they're winning with one. You know, they were 9-7 a few times in that space between, And Coach Davis was a part of one of those, but in his second year really turned things around. The quarterback really changed the game for them. But in terms of them being a dynasty, I will say in the playoffs, they are a dynasty. You know what I mean? You see these guys in the playoffs, that's scary. I think they're definitely a dynasty playoff team. But when it comes to seasons, what will make them a dynasty will be consistency. Because the time they didn't make the playoffs, of course they didn't. They make the playoffs, they usually win it. But the time they didn't make the playoffs, they had average seasons. Now, what will take them to that next level would be having positive seasons, making the playoffs, and making more runs at the Relocation Bowl. Even if they don't win it, I still will classify them as a dynasty if they can consistently keep getting back to the playoffs, which they have never lost a game. So that's my viewpoint on that. In terms of this video, guys, this is why I didn't make too many videos, because right now I'm glad I got my PC fixed, but my Mac that I'm working this on really is not cooperating well with videos, and so unfortunately the video's moving really slow and choppy. But hopefully that will be something that will get fixed soon. But yeah, so that's it for that topic, man. Red Dragons, just definitely a team, like you said, to watch out for. But let's talk about now. I guess now, since we recapped this season, let's talk about the offseason, man. The offseason, it's been a lot of crazy things going on. And, of course, we're going to start out with some big trades. The first big news that we're going to talk about with the offseason, 3 powerhouse teams, technically still really good teams, moving up to the top 5 in the draft. The first team to do it, getting the number 1 overall pick in the draft. It was the Pioneers, a team that did not win a single game. Only 2 teams in RFL has done that. And that was, of course, the Pioneers and the Steamers back in Season 3. But the Pioneers elected to trade away their first overall pick to the Bulldogs. But, of course, they had to give something up. And what they gave up was a 2nd-round pick, a 5th-round pick. They gave up Roland Kaiser, defensive end, Ishmael Harvey, and an offensive lineman at guard, Connor Bussing. And in return, the Bulldog got that number 1 overall pick. And, of course, new rule that we just established in the RFL, you can now trade and offer more than 3 things, but 2 things have to be involved. So they got that pick, and they also got middle linebacker, a young guy at 23 years old, Ronnie Santiago. And so with that, and what's your thoughts on this trade?
Man, the Pioneers, I was rooting for them to have a high overall pick. And there's multiple ways you can run a franchise. There's not just one way. Everybody has their own way. And I was rooting for him to maybe take a step, man, toward getting a guy who could be a game changer, man. When we're talking about game changers, we're talking about a guy who is going to be an X factor, a guy who is going to be 90 next year, a guy who or by the end of his first year, and a guy who is going to progress, a guy who's going to be able to take over a part of your team and you dominate with that, And I thought that the Pioneers would go that way. Coach Grant Culpepper, a lot of hats off to that guy, man. Stuck through the season, didn't win too many games, obviously. And he decided to make a move for his team. And I'm going to tell you, man, I think that the move that he made for his team to acquire players, I think that's going to make him be able to compete a little bit more for next year, because he didn't have, players in positions, in those losses that he had, and guys took advantage of that. And so I think that his overall, idea was, hey, man, let me take as many good players as I can right now to stop the hemorrhaging with my roster right now. And then I'm going to still pick up a couple of draft picks, and hopefully I'm going to be able to still draft some studs here in the second to middle to late rounds. And so, I get that. I get why he did that. And I just hope that it works to perfection. I love to see coaches who are trying to put together the pieces, man, and build a team, up. And I think that he took a good opportunity to try to get some filler, I guess you could say, to fill some of those gaps on his team.
And one thing about the Pioneers, this has been a consistently non-successful team in the RFL. Once again, joining the bracket along with the Season 3 Steamers, as I mentioned earlier. 2nd team not to win a single game. And usually people look at this and be like, why are the Pioneers trading away an opportunity for that game changer you spoke about that could change the culture of this team? Look, they already got only one guy on that team that has been an absolute game changer, and he came via the draft, and that was Jesse Newhouser. This pick right here, we already knew who probably this first pick was going to be. And that was, of course, Drew Brewer. And that would have definitely improved the game of the defense. But one thing I can say about this trade, the Pioneers defense, it is solid already. So, it definitely would have took them to the next level. But what the Pioneers did with this pick, I know a lot of guys are going to look at it like, man, why did they trade away their first pick, the number 1 overall pick? But they did address areas that they needed help in. But when you really look at it also, this is more towards the defense, which is an area they would have drafted anyway. So, I mean, I really feel like it was not as bad as a move as people kind of assume that it was. And then you still see you got a return of a second round pick. Now that's a good trade off in my opinion, because at least it's not too far off, and they might still be able to grab a gem or something or someone that can help still change the game for them, for their team. And of course a 5th round pick, but of course we already know how the draft works. It's tough to get good talent later in the rounds. But overall, I feel like it was a good move for the Pioneers. But what's really going to set the tone for this pick is what they get out of the picks that they got, and what they get out of the players that they got as well. Are they going to be long-time guys who are going to change the culture and make this defense even better and make this team even better to compete? Or are they going to miss this 2nd round pick, not get anybody, and then you're going to see these guys that they just acquired being traded in a short period of time because they're not performing on the field? That's a high possibility, but just going to have to see. It's one of those things we're just going to have to wait until the future to see. But as for the Bulldogs, this is, of course, a great move for them. They get the number 1 overall pick. Is a team that, a few pieces away from being a playoff contender, something that the Bulldogs have not been since they won the Relocation Bowl in the first season. Still have not been back to the postseason ever since. So that says a lot. They're really trying to make some move. Coach Reed really trying everything he can to try to make this team compete, to get to that level that he knows this team can compete at. And I think with that 1st overall pick, he's definitely going to find himself a game changer, because he's got anyone in this draft at his disposal. So I honestly think that it was a really solid pick on both ends.
Oh, definitely a solid move by Coach.
And so the other pick that we had was the Toronto Thunderbirds. We talked about a guy getting the number 1 pick. Thunderbirds were able to move on and get the number 2 pick before the firing of Coach Shepard. And I guess it was a perfect time to hurry up and get that trade through, because this probably wouldn't have happened. But the Monarchs trade away their number 2 pick and their 4th round pick to receive. They still get a number 1 pick in return, but it's a later round pick. It's the 30th pick of the draft. And then they receive Montrell Lasana, an X-Factor receiver. Don't get me wrong, great receiver, 90 overall too, but 28 years old. What was your thoughts on this trade here?
I'm just going to be totally blunt. I wouldn't have made that trade. That's just my opinion. Great trade for Kozira, obviously. Anytime the Thunderbirds can move up in the top 5 when they're supposed to be the 30th team drafting is a great move. So hats off to the Toronto Thunderbirds and Coach Kozira for landing that pick there. I wouldn't have made that trade if I were the Monarchs. I had a lot of high hopes for the Monarchs. I mean, everyone knows this is no shade. Those guys are in rebuild mode, and they need the highest pick total. They don't need a 28-year-old wide receiver and later draft picks. They need a higher draft pick. Take the guy who's going to change the game, the game changer. And so while we've started to practice allowing coaches a little bit more freedom in the trades and decisions that they make, in my humble opinion, I thought that was a terrible trade for the Monarchs. While he still had a chance to draft something at 30 while he was here, it just doesn't seem like he was. I don't feel like he was on the right path with that team there. And so I have to get a double thumbs down on that one right there, man. That's just my opinion. Definitely no bias here at all. Just I'm only using my own personal, looking at a team, looking at a team that didn't win any games. You knew they didn't win any games.
Only won the one.
And then looking at what Lansana did this season and stuff, and looking at his age here. Knowing that obviously when you build a franchise, the goal is definitely to try to get younger and stronger. Not just younger. So you bring in young studs. You don't bring in veteran wide receivers when you don't have other areas, covered. And so just bad move in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. And I see people talking about the Monarchs did that on purpose. This was before he was even fired, guys. So I still didn't have any intentions of firing, but it was a lot of things that led to Shepard being fired. And then he went on a little tantrum at the end, and at the end of the day, that's a lot of things led to him being fired. This was definitely one of those factors. I mean, we already knew, and he claimed he was making moves for the Monarchs that was bettering the team, but giving away a second overall pick in the draft to get a 28 overall receiver and get a later first round pick is not going to change your team at all. I don't know what the logic was or thinking was behind that at all. And then with Montrell Lasana, like we talk about the Monarchs season, but let's not also forget the fact that the Monarchs were already straight with 28 overall good receivers. Yeah. They already have an X Factor receiver that's 28 years old out there, and they go out and trade away second overall pick for Montrell Lasana. Don't get me wrong, great receiver, but how is that improving the team? That was probably the worst trade that I think anyone has made this season. And he just
upgraded his Nintendo to a Super Nintendo is what he did.
Yeah, that's it. Now, they're gonna have a good receiving core, but let's not. Another thing is, look at Preston Schroeder. Had a terrible season. It was his second year. Usually third year is where you see if your guy's gonna stick. If you're gonna stick with this guy to be a franchise guy or not. But I mean, let's also look at this draft. You had an opportunity to definitely get either Marquise Washington or Geno Gannon with Drew Brewer most likely getting taken in with the first overall pick. And so that alone, I think, would have changed the landscape of the Monarchs in terms of their offensive performance. Another thing also is they have so many holes on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe if you didn't go with Geno Gannon or Marquise Washington, why didn't you pick another top-tier defensive player for the team? The Monarchs were absolutely terrible in defense this year. And that is the biggest area that they must address. And now that I have to draft for them, that's definitely going to be an area that I'm going to have to address for this team. And it makes it hard to improve this team with a 30 overall pick in the first round when you had an opportunity to pretty much pick anybody you want after a team picked one player. And so that was an awful move. They also gave up their fourth. Terrible trade all around. Like you said, great trade, though, for Kozera. Got it through. Always finds a way to make good trades and stuff for his team, even though sometimes it may be one-sided. But, this was what the Monarchs staff at the time thought, and it was terrible.
The reason it's short-sighted, it's not that Mark didn't give up enough, because I think Mark did give up enough. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that the state in which the London Monarchs are in right now. Yeah. It's just a terrible trade to accept. Any other team, that would be a great trade. I know several teams would love to have Lansana right now on their team, but it's just like, wow, Jay.
Yeah,
Rob.
Rob. That's definitely the name of it. Just absolutely got robbed, man. That's a terrible trade. But I don't even want to talk about it no more. Good thing we did get rid of that guy, man. That's all I gotta say. Man,
get him out of here, coach.
Wow. And we'll talk more about coaches and stuff at the end. I didn't make any graphs for that because I forgot to add that. But we'll just talk about that. But anyway, getting to the last team, which is your team that moved up into the top 5. And I used your graphic that you made for your video. In case anybody didn't see this video that he posted up on Instagram about his Cougar exclusive, pretty much talking about the offseason move of the Chicago Cougars. Make sure to check that out. It was a great video. It was his name, Hankerson? Was the guy that was talking?
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Coach Jones, man. Justin Jones, he gave me that name. Tom Hankerson, man.
Tom Hankerson, man. Good dude. Yeah, but big trade right here because, I mean, the Cougars, it looked like it was about to be a trend 1, 2, 3, but hey, if the Bisons hadn't won their only game, maybe the Cougars would have been, number 3, but instead they were the 4th. The Bisons were the 4th, and they trade away to that 4th overall pick to the Cougars, and you guys gave away Javon Payne, and a let me see, I'm reading this wrong, a 2nd round pick,
first and second, in the first,
and just got the number 1 overall pick right there. So I mean, That was a big blockbuster move for you. And I think it was a pretty good move also for the Bisons as they
Yep.
still got themselves some pretty good draft capital along with, a youthful linebacker who definitely has some potential here in this league.
hmm Yeah, and Ethan definitely makes me and Ethan, man. We go back a couple of years now, and so we always make good trades between each other, man. We don't try to get over each other. We just pretty much come together, but put our heads together, man. And so I've actually traded for his pick a couple of years in a row now. As he's being the head coach, man. No collusion, guys. Trust me, but no, but we definitely wanted to make that trade. We actually, just a little backstory on this, man. We actually were trying to go after Drew Brewer at number one, and that didn't fail. That actually failed. Weren't able to do that. So I would, had to go back to the drawing board, man, and see what I could do. As far as trying to get a deal done to get a guy in the top five. I feel that the Cougars right now are a great team, and I feel that we're in a good position, but we're just kind of missing, a piece of the puzzle. And that I can say that could be either that could be on the D line, that could definitely be in the safety core, and that could definitely be at the quarterback. So we have a big decision to make. If you guys watch the draft video that I did, the Cougar exclusive video with Tom Hankerson, where our mind is at right now. But we got our hands in a few pots right now, and we're trying to figure some things out behind the scenes with the team, but also trying to keep the public, anticipating what we're going to do. But expect us definitely to make a splash at number 4. I felt that Javon Payne was a young linebacker who really didn't get much playing time in my system this year. He did have a big pick in the playoffs, man. Huge pick he had in the end of the season, and I thought that, hey, man, maybe I can get some stock out of this guy and get rid of him. He's young, 22, 23 years old, and I thought the Bisons would be a perfect team for him. He's definitely going to be starting, in that defensive core, in multiple formations, and I just thought that it'd be a good time to get him off. I got linebackers galore. You guys know me in defense, so that's not an issue. And also, the second, I was a little kind of cringing a little bit with the second round pick. I was like, I got to get rid of a second. But hey, man, when you're talking about an X factor, man, you're talking about the chance of getting an X factor and a game changer for your team, you got to give up some things. And so I think that whatever player we land at number 4, man, is going to be someone who totally changes the game for the Chicago Cougars.
Well, and to an extent, I guess you should probably be happy that the Bisons actually did not lose all their games, because I don't even know if they would even elected with the number 1 overall pick to trade
Yeah.
that away, because they
Yeah.
definitely would have went for Drew Brewer in that case, because we already know that the Bisons this past season had no pass rush whatsoever. And so I guess in a way, for your team, it's definitely great that happened, and you guys still have the capability to land a few players. Like, you guys have options, like you said, maybe the quarterback, maybe the safety, maybe some other places on defense. So I mean, all around a great trade, I feel, on both ends.
I was just a little funny story, man, about Ethan, man. I remember I was talking to Ethan about this trade, and Ethan was like at number 2 or number 1 or something, right? And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I want that trade, man. Ethan was like, oh, okay, man, all right. And we put it through, and he said, okay, I promise, Rob, we'll do this. And then Ethan starts winning games, and I'm like, Ethan, Ethan, what are you doing, Ethan? He's like, man, I want to win my first game, Rob. And I'm like, what are you doing? So it was kind of a little funny story, man. I was just joking with him and everything, but I was happy that he pulled off some wins. But I just want to say hats off to Ethan Long, because he could have tanked. He could have
Yeah.
tanked for number 1, and he didn't, man. He wanted to win. And he put his game plans in down the stretch. He didn't do like some teams just tanked
Yeah.
for a pick, and that to me, man, just shows the character of Ethan Long, man. So hats off to Ethan Long, man, for real.
And before I go on to the next trade, to even harp on that, another big reason on why the Marshals coach was fired. During the
Monarchs.
season, the Monarchs. The Monarchs. The Monarchs had no training, game planning, or nothing heading into the games. Just wanted to
Yeah.
tank. It's a
Yeah.
difference, and so that there's definitely big reasons on why we had to get. It's great that we're opening up opportunities. There's a lot of people who want to be a coach here, and so people who's doing things like that, great idea to get those guys up out of here, because he was not doing anything productive for the team, nor was he setting up the team for the future with that horrible trade with the Monarchs. So just still wanted to harp on that, just to give more details on that situation. But following this trade, well, that was it for the top three guys, three teams moving up into the top five. But we had some other big trades going on as well. And let me go back to this graphic here and take the Thunderbirds off here. And here we go. Yeah, so another big move. Bisons once again making some moves. Yep. They trade away their Pro Bowl cornerback Trey Sinclair. Now, when I seen this, I was like, are you serious? Are you seriously trading away Sinclair? He's been a monster on this team since the very beginning, season 1. But I didn't look at the Dreadnought side yet, and I saw they're giving away another legacy player on their team. So, of course, legacy player for legacy player. We allow only those trades with legacy players. And Irvin Chisholm is attached. So that already offsets the legacy player. Now I'm looking for the balance, and this trade gets accepted because, the Dreadnoughts receive a third, and they get Trey Sinclair. But the Bisons receive Irvin Chisholm, great linebacker. He's been a great linebacker since season 1. Scott Knightley, very youthful defensive tackle. Now, he's not very high overall or dev. He's normal dev, 75 overall. And then they also get a 4th-round overall pick. I think this trade kind of really off-balanced itself because we already knew the situation as we were talking about. The Bisons, no linebackers. They were terrible this season on defense. They lost 2/3 of their linebackers last season due to injury early on. And now they get a stud at linebacker at Irvin Chisholm, who the Dreadnoughts were pretty much using at defensive end. And he actually thrived there in the beginning of the season, but really cooled off towards the second half. But honestly, I think this was great additions for the Bisons team and a really great addition for the Dreadnoughts at the cornerback position to pair up with Roosevelt Mixon, another 89 X-Factor overall receiver. So now the Dreadnoughts got 2 X-Factor veteran cornerbacks. So that could make a difference.
Yeah, and I kind of was a little hesitant when I saw Sinclair a part of that deal, but you got to sacrifice sometimes to get better, and sometimes getting better is taking a step back. And giving away some things, forfeiting some things so that you can, free up cap room, make more space for more players, and right now we're talking about the Bisons right now, and you can't really see this on paper. I've actually, went and looked at the Bisons on paper, man, and boy, I tell you, I like defense. I love defense, man. I really love it. I really like it what Ethan Long is doing, man. He's added some guys there. Hey, these guys are super fast coaches. I'm telling you, go look at those guys, man. Look at that speed, acceleration, that awareness, that play recognition. Ethan Long, I think he probably stole a page out of my coach's book, man. I gotta go make sure I lock that away, man. But this guy, yeah, he's doing a good job. We're talking about team building right now, and I'm not saying the Bisons are going to run away with it next season. But what I'm saying is that you're definitely not going to just run over the Bisons next season. So yeah.
And they've always been a great team. This year was just a really bad year for them. But if you look at even this year, the games that they've lost, there were a lot of really close one-possession games for this team. They really even hung in there with the Celtic Tigers when they were hot. So, this was a team that was definitely brawling to the end, like you were talking about, Ethan Long. Just, hey, look, I don't care what our record is. I'm going to play every week to win. Right. And, with that mentality for next year and new additions to that defensive side of the ball, I think if they had a good defense, this would have definitely been a playoff team, and they're starting to build that up right now. We'll talk more about those signings that they got as well.
We gotta add too, man. Watch out for those Dreadnoughts too, though, man. They got those wings are ridiculous right now, man.
Yeah, those corners is going to be. I don't know how you're going to get open. Trey Sinclair.
He definitely won that one too, man. They both. They said in the chat both of them won, man. Yeah, they definitely look great on defense, man, on both sides.
Sinclair and Mixon is just going to be. Yeah. Wow. I can't even. They might have one of the top. Might have a top 5 passing defense for sure next year. Yeah. And so moving on to another big move that we had going on, it was the let me go back here. Gotta go take this graphic off, and we didn't have the time to really make this graphic here for this one, but it shows what happened here. Yeah. The Oklahoma City Lancers and the Gunners practically swapped top receivers. DeAndre Cain, who had a phenomenal year after being traded from the Thunderbirds, now over to the Gunners. Traded from the Thunderbirds in middle of the season or earlier this season to the Lancers, and the Lancers trade away Can to the Gunners for Colt Cruz. And of course, some draft picks were also associated with this, as the Gunners, received a 4th round pick, and the Lancers received a 7th. And so with that, I mean, what is your thoughts on this swap? I honestly feel like this is a huge move for the Gunners. I mean, we already knew the situation with Colt Cruz, and he just was not performing there as a number 1 receiver. Now I think they really got themselves a number 1 receiver here with DeAndre Can.
Yeah, but speaking objectively here, obviously not to make Coach Brazier go off in chat right now, man. But I'm going to just speak from the heart and from just being observed right now. I think that one, I don't think that Colt Cruz. I think he had Colt Cruz in the 1 position on his team, and I've kind of like debated this with Bill a little bit too. It's not that Colt Cruz is a bad player. It's just the way you use Colt Cruz that's going to dictate how well he does here in the RFL. I think that Colt Cruz personally is just a slot guy. I don't think he deserves to be in the number 1 spot. I think that he didn't perform as well, obviously with the Gunners and everything, and so I think that now that the Gunners are getting rid of him, got rid of him for Can, from Noah, I thought that that's going to actually help them get that receiver that Jabri Jackson is actually going to need on his side, or to help him move that ball through the air. I felt like that's one of the biggest issues with the Gunners is that they don't have that big receiver, and so I'm kind of excited to see Kane, get over it, playing with Houston. And then on the other side, I don't think that Noah's trading away Kane was as bad. Kind of like a one and done, 1 year and done. I think that I'm kind of like a little skeptical about that a little bit, but I'm not sure exactly what he saw in Colt Cruz that makes him want to use him. I just think that Kenyon would be as a better number 1 guy than Colt Cruz is, and so now Colt Cruz is going to come over to the Lancers, and I just want to see what he's going to do with him. Is he going to put him in the number 1 role? We saw what he did in the number 1 role in Houston, and it just wasn't. It wasn't much. I'm not sure what the numbers are him on the season, but I don't hear anybody ranting and raving about Colt Cruz on the Gunners this year. So kind of puzzles me, but I'm not the coach of the Lancers, so that's something that Noah will have to figure out. But I would have liked to see Can, because I felt like Can when he, like, that's what we were talking about all season. Like, oh my God, they got Can now. They've got NO3. They got Gary. They got all these guys. The defense is playing well, and so. I'm just kind of, I'm kind of like, man, Can's gone now, and now Colt Cruz is coming in here. Can Colt Cruz fill the shoes of DeAndre Can, man? That's the question right there you got to ask.
Yeah, in terms of this trade, I think that, like you said, this trade in terms of these receivers could be beneficial. I think it's definitely going to be beneficial for the Gunners due to the fact that DeAndre Can is that receiver that I think the Gunners have been looking for. And they may need to still find some other receivers to pair with him, because we already know that receiving core definitely needs some help. And if they can pair Jabri Jackson up with some more receivers on the outside, I think that the Gunners are going to be a very dangerous team and find themselves back into the playoffs. In terms of, like you said, about the Lancers, one thing about DeAndre Can, when he was a Lancer, he was not the number 1 receiver. A lot of guys tend to forget that because of the big plays that he made there for the Lancers. But John Johnson was is still a beast receiver. He's just more of a, he's not the fast guy. He's more the go up and get it type of guy. So they have a number 1. And now they bring in Colt Cruz. But to that extent, I feel like Colt Cruz, like you said, if used correctly in the slot, along with John Johnson on the outside, this can still make the offense, the passing game of the Lancers, very dangerous. And so I honestly feel like it was a win-win on both sides.
Now let me ask you this, man, because that's a very good point there. Now, what pick do the Lancers have?
The Lancers, believe, off the top of my head, I do not know. I know I have the paper for it, but they definitely passed 20.
20 plus, yeah.
So, 24 or something like that.
So do you think the Lancers try to land one of these receivers, man?
I don't know. That's something we're probably going to have to see, man, because, if they get a receiver, I mean,
There's a lot of them.
honestly, are they really in need? That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Because
yeah.
if you really think about it, okay, they pretty much solved their slot receiver position
Mm-hmm.
problem here,
Yep.
which they really didn't have because DeAndre Can was playing slot too. So
Yeah.
DeAndre Can was killing actually in the slot. So that was actually a great spot for him. But now they get rid of that beast of a receiver at the slot and outside. You put Colt Cruz in there. Now who's your next outside guy? I think that next outside guy is the rookie that Trey McClellan,
Yeah.
because
Almost.
McClellan was
I forgot
yeah,
about him. Yeah. Yeah.
and he actually played very good, made a lot of great contested catches. I feel like he's definitely a tall outside receiver that they can put there and develop. And I honestly feel that they don't need to actually draft a receiver in these early rounds.
Looks like the news just came in, man. Lancers have no first or second round pick. So
Yeah.
just pull the plug in it.
Yeah, so that's
Unit
that's
30.
shot. Yeah. So that's shot for the Lancers. But either way, I mean, I guess this was a really good move. I think they have no choice but to develop McClellan, and there's a lot of promise in that based off of what he did as a rookie this past season.
Yeah. Yeah.
And moving on to the last big trade news that we have here is a swap of running backs and some more players. As the Toronto Thunderbirds again trade away a top-tier running back from the team. And as a commissioner looking at this, he already knows,
Yeah.
man, Jesus, can you find a top-tier running back that's going to stay on the team? And it seems like Clifton General and McDaniels, who always perform very well, are pretty much a shoe in the stick there. And I honestly feel that they just fit that system very well. Hopefully this is going to be the running back that's going to be a top-tier running back that the Thunderbirds will stick with. But they trade away Cornell Mickens, who they traded last season from the Shamrocks. He still had a pretty good season for the Thunderbirds. Then the Thunderbirds started using Cornell Mickens in only third down situations. Now he said he felt that the Cornell Mickens was a running back that was better in those situations. And honestly, I kind of felt that he was great in those third down situations. He could catch, he could block, definitely. But I always still felt like he was a great all-around back. But I can't really say too much in that because Clifton General still came out and held it down while he took those first and second down snaps. And so with that being said, I mean, let me go ahead and say this trade here, and then I'll ask for your opinion here. We got the Marshals trading away their first round pick. So this right here makes it the third first round pick for the Thunderbirds, man. So they got 3 first round picks, and they get Rashawn Overstreet from the Marshals with that running back swap. Cornell Mickens goes to the Marshals. He also trades away Kawani Session and defensive lineman Julius McKee, along with a third round pick. And so honestly, I think the trade was pretty good. But with that being said, man, what's your opinions on this trade?
Oh, I got 1,000 opinions on this, man. Cool Zero, if you're listening right there, man, I totally understand. I mean, this guy, he's been. I told guys this, man. I'm looking for God. You know what I mean? And, I think that Cozier is looking for God as well, man. You got to have that kind of mentality here in the RFL, and I think that he's been through some backs. We know that, sending backs all over the place and everything. He's shopping backs. You know what I mean? Out here in the RFL, but so and I understand why he's doing that. And he's just trying to find that guy who can be that that workhorse for his team. I don't know if he just devalues the halfback position, or if he really thinks he's upgrading these halfbacks here, but I get it, I get what he's trying to do, obviously, and then obviously, he's clearing space for his team here. I mean, he's got a lot of horsemen on that D line, man. Those linebackers right there. So somebody got to go. Contracts got to get expired. Contracts got to get cut. So I understand, what he's doing here. Obviously, a great coach making great moves for his team. Trying to put himself in, just a position to obviously get younger, find studs, and keep that boat, keep that those wings flying over there in Toronto. So, I thought this was a solid trade. And the only thing, man, that I see is that it's dangerous when you're trading with the Thunderbirds, man. I try to tell coaches this, and I'm not trying to boycott the Thunderbirds here, guys. But this is just like trading with the Patriots. You understand what I'm saying? And let's not forget that the Thunderbirds were 15 and what, 15 and 1, 15 and 0,
15
something
and
like
1.
that. And the only reason, one of the only reasons, I think this is probably the only reason, is that LC3 got injured, uh,
Yeah.
and that's why they probably didn't make a deep playoff push. And so you guys, and no hats off to Romo. I love you, Romo, man, but man. When you're dealing with the devil, you're dealing with the devil, man. And
In
unfortunately,
this
you
case,
traded.
it's a hot bird.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. And you give this guy, now he's got how many first round picks? At the
3.
beginning and the end. So he's got the top 30. We got 2 of the top 31 guys. 2 of the top 31 picks now. And you're wondering, how do we beat them? Stop trading away to them. So yeah, man. I hope Cozier is laughing at that right there, man. But hey, we approved the trade, and I thought that that it worked out for both teams. So hey, hats off, man.
Yeah. Now in this case, I think the running back swap was good, but like you said, you trading with the Thunderbirds. You wonder why they're a top team, giving them a lot of capital to stay a hot team for a minute, man. First round pick, and like you said, the Thunderbirds are classified as the Patriots of the RFL, man. I mean, they have never missed an NFC Championship game ever, so that's crazy. They've made 2 Relocation Bowl appearances. I honestly feel had a high chance of making 3. Like you said, if LC3 was not injured. I mean, that right there alone tells you, man, the Thunderbirds, man, are one heck of a team that is stacked right now and continue to get stacked due to help of some of these trades. But, of course, they are also giving off some good things also to the other teams. But like you said, sometimes you got to have some discipline and understand that you are feeding a beast here. And the Thunderbirds, they're going to be a hot team for a minute, man. And I think with 3 first-round picks, this team is going to go crazy next year.
3 first-round picks.
This first round of this draft is about to be crazy for the Thunderbirds. That's all I can tell you right there. Defense is already phenomenal.
Hey, guys, I'm not calling Mark Cozier the devil either, guys. It's just an analogy, you know what I mean? Mark, I'm not calling you the devil, but I'm just saying that your team, like the better phrase is Smitty just said, you're feeding the beast. You know what I mean? It's like a caged animal. Yeah, you're feeding it right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, you definitely turning this Thunderbird into a flame bird right now. Like this bird's on fire for real right now. And as for see Coach Cozier throwing up the Diablo face, but I mean he definitely. I feel like he's a guy who takes pride in that title. But I mean, you guys are the ones making him even better. But in this case, I still feel like it was a great trade for both teams. So a great trade in my opinion, and hopefully this will be the back for Toronto. We'll have to see. But Overstreet is also an older guy, so I don't see him really staying for too long. I think he's 28, so chance that he's going to be looking to try to shop him off probably later on. But the Thunderbirds, man, once again, making moves, staying on top of the business here. And the Marshals, they're making moves too. I can't wait to see what Cornell Mickens does there in San Antonio. Moving on, we talked about the trades. Now let's talk about the big signings that have happened so far in the RFL. The first one is, of course, the biggest signing right now, which has kind of caught a lot of people, especially on social media, off guard. The Brooklyn Barons have won the debate in an offer after Ethan King was released and left into free agency from the Desperados. The Barons offered Ethan King, and he accepted, of course, $211 million contract for 7 years. What's your thoughts on that signing?
Man, look, man, I can't analyze rolling deals, man. Roland is just a different, his own person, man. I mean, we give him a hard time about some of the moves he makes and everything. It's all somehow calculated in the mind of Roland Woods, and so it's not that I didn't see that coming. I knew that someone over there in the NRC was gonna just make it rain on one of these players over here, and I'm not surprised that it was Roland Woods who flossed all the sauce, what I'm saying, over there, and squeezed it still. So I see what he was doing there. I guess I don't have that kind of money. Cougars broke. We might have to trade our Cougar fur in for 211, whatever. But yeah, I mean, he did what he thought he had to do. He signed the guy. Hey, somebody got to do it. I guess you can say at the end of the day. I mean, I know it gets crazy over there in the NRC. You guys aren't slick. You guys like to raise bids over there and everything and get it all high and stuff. Roland just said, man, forget all that talk, that big rap. He like to say, forget all that big rap. We go ahead and floss my guy real quick, man. So, it's a huge contract. Obviously with Patrick Mahomes downside of the 505 bill. Now it's going to be a running joke now. Hey, I did what I had to do. So I can't even analyze this, man. He got his guy. He's got 2 X factors there. No fly zone. Roland wins.
So the Barons, man, my thoughts on this one, and I talked with Roland. We already had pretty much our discussion that I usually have with the coaches. Still got to talk with all the other coaches and everything. But, man, I'm giving you the real on this. Man, Ethan King, excellent safety. I believe he's the highest strong safety in the league.
Yeah.
Other than, of course, that free safety, Garrison Ash, but that's 2 different positions still. But Ethan King, great safety.
Yeah.
But he is not worth $211 million for 7 years. That is just too much money. Now, I think this deal could have definitely been done for way cheaper, and he still could have won it.
Really?
Yeah, I honestly feel like this could have been done way cheaper, but unfortunately,
what did he do? Just raise it that high and went to work?
He had to have, man. I honestly don't think any other coach, if they did, because of course they were bidding for him, but I don't think any coach put their bid that high, to begin with. I think Roland wanted to make for sure that Ethan King was going to be a Baron. Yeah. And so he just completely broke the bank on this guy. Yeah. He still got money over there though. So, I mean, to his defense, he does have he still has a good amount of money to be able to dish around and to sign other guys who are going to need money in the future. Because of course the Barons, they're still not an overly stacked team. So with that, in that regards, I mean, great signing. A lot of money though, man. $211 million. I mean, this guy's getting paid. I think he's probably top 5, if not top 10. And the most money getting paid in the RFL. And I think he's beating out just about every RFL quarterback except for like 3 of them. Yeah. And he's literally getting almost Joseph Gidley money. Like, that's just, that's crazy.
I heard a rumor that Ethan King's helmet is going to be made of 24 karat gold.
If he doesn't come out with the gold everything, then, he's definitely a humble guy.
Yeah, he has to come out of the tunnel in a chariot with horses. Crowns everywhere, and
he needs to have his own solo. Like, I mean, when the team comes out, he needs to be the only one that comes out first with the smoke, everything. He needs to have his little blow up thing with the Barons, and he just break out of there. He needs to have that. Nobody else comes out. Nobody else can be seen. And after he's done celebrating, then we can introduce the rest of the team. Because I mean, this guy, he definitely got paid.
Yeah. Hope those interceptions stack up.
Yeah, he better come ready to play, because I'm pretty sure. I mean, this guy can play terrible and still probably he's still going to be willing in that money.
150, 200,000 footballs going King's way, man. It's
crazy. Yeah. And so after that, another signing. We had a re-signing of Holden Wolf of the Black Knights. Now, Holden Wolf. He has reached up there in a high age. Off the top of my head, can't remember his age already, but he's definitely up there in the 30s. I think he's 34. So 34, he was a 95 overall last season. He got a regression hit. The guy only lost 1 overall. The dude's a 94. So the Black Knights re-signed him, and I think it was a good signing because they re-signed him to a 2-year deal, I believe worth $63 million. So what's your thoughts on that re-signing right there?
I'm a little bit biased here, man. Obviously, the computer doesn't know what it's doing. But at the end of the day, I like to see the veterans, man, stay on their teams. As long as possible. And I'm sounding two-faced as I'm thinking about Slater in the back of my head right now. But I like to see these guys stay on the teams, and so I thought it was good that he ended up back on London to finish out his career there. I would have really hated to see a coach. I don't think any coach in the ARC would have actually signed him
Yeah.
on their team. So it's just good that he landed back. Obviously, come on, EA, fix franchise so that these teams can be a little bit more strategic in their signings and dealings and everything. But hey, it's something that this team likes about him because they were the only bid on this player here. And
Yeah.
so I'm just glad they got their guy back at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I actually look back. He actually was signed to a $68.7 million contract over 2 years. So,
Yeah,
honestly, a lot of money for a
yeah,
short period of time. Could have been cheaper, definitely.
yeah.
But hey, they got their guy. Still 90 plus overall quarterback. I think he's going to definitely continue to keep this offense of the London Black Knights sharp.
Hmm.
In the other signing, we had Riley Bach of the Huskies. After getting released, the Bisons act quickly and sign Riley Bach onto a contract, man. And honestly, I think it was a good move as they were able to sign him to a 1 year deal worth
Yeah,
$4.79 million.
yeah, yeah, yeah. When I saw this, man, I'm there's a few things going on with the Huskies. You guys know I'm in the same division with them, man. So if the Huskies and the Bulls make moves, I'm on it, And so I saw, Riley Bach, be released, and a couple of other guys get released, and I'm thinking, at first I was thinking like, oh yeah, Huskies are deteriorating, you know what I'm saying? And then I go and look at the Huskies defense, and I get depressed. Realize that they still have, uh, you know, a rat-a-tat among all the rest of them, Pratt and all the rest of these guys, Pascal, and then I got really really depressed and everything, and I realized this is just a good signing, obviously for the Bisons, and just scraping off the surface, shedding the skin, shedding the fur for the Huskies as they start to rejuvenate, man, for next year. So I know they're probably gonna. If I know Coach Chiz, man, he's ready to draft a pretty good draft guy, and so good signing for the Bisons. They get Bach. I think he's definitely gonna enhance the defense there. But as far as it goes for the Huskies, man, they got a lot of guys. They got a lot of guys. They're stacked. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I feel about that one.
Yeah, so I honestly think this was a great signing. Once again, the weakness of that, I mean, it was a lot of weaknesses for the Bisons in terms of their defense, but the
Yeah,
linebacker core, well, really their D line is their weakest area. Still, they need to
yeah,
address that a little bit, but the
definitely.
linebacker core really killed them because that D line could not generate any pass rush or fill any holes or just in general just hold the line to make plays. And so the linebackers, I mean, they went down to their second team linebacker core quickly with
Yeah,
those injuries, and it just showed. Most of those guys, I believe, all the guys that they had starting are gone now, and so they bring in, of course, Riley Bach. They get Javon Payne, like you said, from the trade with you.
hmm,
And they got a couple other guys in there, and I think Riley Bach, he's definitely still got some in the tank. Couldn't do it, couldn't stay on with the Huskies, but
yeah,
now that he's going to be a Bison, I think it's a good contract signing too. 1 year deal. I think
hmm,
if he shows his worth, doesn't take a big hit, sign the guy back. So
yeah.
it's a great signing for sure.
Yeah, now just to add on to that too, man. I'm always in favor of signing a good veteran, man. A lot of guys, so you guys will start to notice that I tend to sign some of the older linebackers. I just feel that sometimes the veteran linebackers, man, they seem to just play a lot more smarter and make big plays. And so I just think that was a good move by the Bisons, just to try to build up something so they can hang in there in these games while they rebuild this team here, man. So good move.
Yeah. And so for the last part of the signings, we get a look at just a few notable big guys who are still in free agency who, can't wait to see where these guys go. Rob Slater, your guy,
Oh
and
yeah,
Jack Winkler. I mean, these
yeah,
are two top tier quarterbacks. Well, Slater dropped down to an 82, so he's
oh
actually
yeah,
regressed pretty bad. And then you got Jack Winkler. This guy really regressed at all. He was a 99.
oh
He's a
yeah,
97. So he's
yeah.
still in the market, but the big question is who's willing to pay the money for these guys? Do you think that these guys will find a team?
I really don't think these guys will find a team, man. I think that, just if we're talking about money alone, these two guys are going to suck up quite a bit of cap here. You don't want to sign a guy like that just to sit on your bench. these guys may come in handy when a quarterback gets injured, though, in the season. So it'll be really important for us to try to preserve those guys in the free agency. I imagine that if someone does get injured, those guys will jump into a role, but you're going to definitely pay a hefty price for them for a 1-year deal. At the same time, just a little backstory on Slater, man. I definitely didn't want to get rid of Slater. Obviously, the regression was bad. You guys saw what we did with him this year. But it's just I had to think about the future of the team, and we were able to save a ton of cap and sign some notable players as well in free agency this year, which is really going to help us with some of the rough around the edges, stuff we got going on. And unfortunately, man, Rob Slater, I couldn't get that contract together with him, and it was just off to the free agency he goes. We did try to see if we could work out something with him in free agency, but he just wants a lot of money right now, and he's just not. I don't feel he's not the guy that he was this season with the regression hit, and we had to get out of that contract fast. It was a perfect time. We had a little bit of cap left over. Let's just go ahead and get out of that. Take the hit real quick and come back fresh, and see what we can get going forward. As far as Winkler goes, that's just kind of insane, man, to see that guy out there in the free agency. But I understand that the Barons are definitely moving forward. We've seen this before, and this is just what happens for all those young QBs out there, man. This is what happens at the end of your career here in the RFL, man. Teams have to move on, and this is what happens. And 99s are out here in the free agency, So this could be you one day, So. What are you gonna do? But I think Winkler's gonna be an excellent pickup for somebody in the season. I actually thought he was gonna be an explorer for a moment. It may have been a great move by the Explorers to sign him, but obviously they didn't, and so someone's gonna win the Winkler sweepstakes, I think, in the NRC, if we don't join the Fouls together. Because if we join the Fouls together, Winkler might find a spot over here in the ARC somewhere.
Yeah, a lot of money, man. This is just, I honestly feel like he would have definitely had himself a spot if he wasn't asking for, astronomical numbers in terms of, money getting paid for a 36, I believe, year-old guy. So, I mean, that is a lot of money for a guy his age. It's definitely going to have to be a 1-year contract for whoever signs him, but that's a lot of money you're going to have to be dishing out for this guy. So it could be the end that we hear of Jack Winkler. But like you said, I do think that if he doesn't get picked up in free agency, during the season, injuries happen, things happen, and maybe a quarterback's not playing well. Maybe you need somebody just to step in for that year. Jack Winkler, even Rob Slater, maybe a guy, that somebody signs and just attaches to take their team, to get their team back on track and take their team to that next level.
What if Winkler was available when LC3 got injured?
Crazy.
Man. Would that have been crazy?
I'm pretty sure Rob. I don't know, man. It depends on the money, but I'm pretty sure that Cougars would have definitely wanted him. I'm not sure. He is here right now. So, would you have signed him?
I wonder if you would have signed him.
You probably hopped out.
Yeah.
Probably not. It would have been a lot of money. It would definitely have been a lot of money. But, so that was it in terms of the off-season moves and signings. Now, it's just going to be a brief talk about the upcoming draft, man. We are literally just 9 days away from the Season 6 draft. All right, we call it the next year's draft because, these are the guys who will be playing in Season 6. And we saw these top notable guys who you can see in this graphic right now play great in college. Where will they play in the RFL? We'll find out in 9 days and 3 days during that period. So, the RFL draft, if you guys paid attention to this trailer, and I think guys were more so excited instead of reading, but the RFL trailer says, hey, the RFL draft, July 18th through the 20th. Okay, I didn't put through the 20th in the draft, though, so I messed that up. But at the end of the day, the RFL draft is literally just 9 days away, and we're looking to try to take this to a whole new level. Before we used to do it pre-recorded, I literally have to record and make the whole draft video myself. We're actually going to try to do it live for the first time in RFL history. So this will be the first ever live draft with our first ever college series draft class. And I just cannot wait to see where even these guys on the poster are going to go. Just a lot of big names, man. How excited are you for this draft here, Rob?
Oh man, sitting at the number 4 overall pick, I'm uber excited, man. I'm super excited about it. Hey, I told y'all I'm down here, man, in Hawaii and everything. I'm on the beach, and I've been scouting, man. We've been having guys, man. I want to kind of break my news, but I don't think I want to break it just yet, man. But the Cougars got something big coming, man. Hopefully this happens before the draft. You guys are going to be very, very impressed with this, I think, man. You know what I'm saying? And so there's a lot of big names out there, man. And so I think that, and then, we called that series together, Smitty, you and I, man, and we've been able to see these guys, mature. And,
Yeah.
I love these guys. Where my season 6 gang at, I know they abandoned me months ago and everything, but I see them starting to slowly trickle in a little bit. I think I seen Monsieur Chappelle somewhere in the chat, recently and everything. He was actually DMing me. I just remembered I got to answer his question too. But yeah, this is gonna be a draft of the drafts, man. I know season 7, you guys got your own thing coming and everything. I know we gonna get to it, guys. But right now, this is the season 6, guys, and these guys definitely grinded through, and I'm really excited to see these really the first 2 rounds, man, and see where people land, because it's just there's a lot of stock right now, man, for some teams, So I want to see who's gonna go, who's gonna fall, where people land, and yeah. So this is a good draft right here if you're a coach in the RFL.
Yeah, this draft just in particular is just going to be so exciting to watch, because this is the first time, like I said, first ever college series class. Now, we had a rookie series, but that was only like a series of 2 to 3 games. But this was the first time we literally got to see a full season of our prospects in college. How they perform throughout the season, what they do well, what they don't do well.
Right.
And now we're going to see them get drafted, and just to see them change from when they had the college uniforms on. Now they're going to be rocking some RFL unis. Definitely going to be some new ones. We're working on some stuff for next year, man. But at the end of the day, this just adds so much more to this draft than any other draft, because we actually saw these guys, like you said. We saw them, like, even though they only got to play 1 season, we still got to see them in college. We saw them from the beginning all the way developing up into a pro. But when they become a pro, still, that's just the beginning of the journey. We still, like, as great as Marquise Washington and Geno Gannon is, they were great college players. Who knows how they're going to perform when they get in the RFL. RFL is going to be a different ball game, that's for sure. But it just so excited to see where all these star players are going to end up.
Oh yeah, man, definitely going to be interesting to see who goes where and who drafts what, man. That's just I'm super excited, man. Only 9 days away, man. It's going to be a big deal, and definitely, obviously, with it being live. That's going to be a game changer as well, because you guys will be able to hear the emotions and everything behind this, and we'll be in the chat, and we'll be able to share that. And guys, it might be a little hectic, a little crazy. You never know, but we're gonna all be together, man, doing what we do, man. This RFL thing of ours, man. So I'm just excited about it.
And another thing about this, guys, I want you guys in the Discord to get on this right now. Is it could be a possibility that we have it where our coaches call you up before they draft you. So I'm trying to implement that and all that stuff. So if you're a part of the Discord and you're part of this draft class, man, make sure that you tell everyone in this class that be on Discord during the draft. We'll try to figure out a way to make this experience way more real, and then also this is going to be great. Make sure you're paying attention in the Discord and heavily in the Discord during the draft day. Now, if you are new, if you are a submitted player, you're in the Discord right now, just watch this whole process. This will be you next year, So, and it's going to be way more exciting to an extent, not to take away from the season 6 guys, but because of the amount of new guys we got coming into this next class. We got over 200 guys who are submitted. So, that next class is going to be crazy, but man, I can't wait to see what this first class of the college series is going to be like. And we got some things planned for the future for college series way down the line and everything. We're talking about it. But, man, this is definitely something you don't want to miss. It's the best time to watch the RFL, man. But with that being said, we've capped off our topics with this last question of the day here. Well, not last question, last topic of the day. And of course, I said I was going to make a video on this, but I said, why make a video when I got a podcast coming up? So I'm going to just do it during the podcast. Let's talk about Madden 21. And this is actually good. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Rob didn't play it, so I don't know why I thought you had the beta. Forgot, man. I thought you had the beta, but even if I had Bill, he didn't play the beta either. So my thoughts in general on Madden 21. Yeah, if you want to give your thoughts on it, yeah, go ahead.
Crop. That's how I felt, man. Well, the first I've been playing. I'm not gonna tell you guys my age, man, but I'm definitely over 30 years of age, and I've been playing Madden since I was Man, I've been playing Madden. Let's just say I've been playing Madden since the very first Madden ever came out, basically. And I actually had an X and O's version of it on an old computer, a Commodore 64 128. That's over guys' heads right now, you know what I'm saying? And I have never missed a franchise year of Madden. And for the first time this year, I was not excited about the beta, about playing it early. I'm not even excited about the 10 hours that they're going to probably give us to play it ahead of time. You know, the whole 3 days early thing. I almost didn't even buy it 3 days early, but I said for the league, I'm going to go ahead and buy it 3 days early so we can get a start on building things. But I'm disappointed in EA and this franchise thing, man, because I feel that we deserve more, man. And I don't know the numbers on, me paying all that money I've paid, since I was a kid, and this, but I know that there's probably, a billion more people, man, who are feeling like I'm feeling and feeling like, we've been cheated and kind of swept under the rug. And it sounds terrible because it's a video game and we should all not be so obsessed with it, but it's just been a part of our culture. You know what I mean? And a part of, a lot of our guys' youth and everything and growing up. And it's terrible, man, for the one thing that we invest in so much to come to us half, you know what I mean? And I remember a time when games used to come packaged and like clear wrapping, right? And they were perfect. There was no patch, and now you get half the game and a patch later, see you later, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. And it just kind of boggles me, man. So I've just been a little bit depressed about that, which is the reason I didn't play the beta this year, because there was no franchise to even go into. And then I saw how they destroyed the Cougars logo on that little whatever reveal thing, and I just didn't want to play it, man. And then also the RFL has just ruined playing this game for me as well. I mean, I just want to look at it side to side. And I don't want to watch Mahomes versus Brady, whatever. I want to watch, these RFL quarterbacks. I want to watch RFL players versus RFL players. You remember last year we built our franchise on the beta. In like a day we all built our franchises. So that kind of depressed me a little bit, man.
Yeah, so for guys who are watching, I know you guys already seen my little rant on social media with the RFL page, just expressing my feelings towards Madden 21. Like I've said, even in that post, honestly, with Madden, I've always been a fan of Madden. To an extent, I still am. And the main reason is because of this league. If I didn't have this league or never came up with this idea to do this, I would not be playing Madden whatsoever. I always was a guy who never played with the NFL teams. I love playing the game with guys that I didn't know and building their own stories. We already see these guys on TV. Why do I want to play a game with them? That's just my take on it. But in terms of this game in general, I was very disgusted with how this company has been dealing with the franchise gamer, man, and pretty much trying to force us to an extent to play MUT. Now, a lot of guys always try to say, look, MUT, they don't get too much of anything either. For a second, I did agree with that, but when you look at it, MUT still makes money. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at franchise, they're not getting any money. They probably were purposely making franchise so bare bones that it forced people to hop on MUT. And I honestly feel there was an extent, and I really am proud of our community, this Madden community, because we really pushed and got fix Madden franchise #1 trending on Twitter and everything, and these guys came out with a response, and I do feel like they are going to an extent deliver on it. How well they deliver on it, I don't know, because I feel like they have no choice but to do something now, because if they don't, I think all hell is going to break loose, and so they better make sure that they come out and make something out of this franchise for years to come. Maybe put a little something in this year, but we're expecting at least some new features from a year-to-year basis from here on out. But back to the Madden 21 beta. While playing the game, this game was pretty much the same. The lighting was great. Now, don't get me wrong, the lighting was great. I think the lighting was pretty good, but of course this is still not next gen. I think next gen on PS5 is going to be a lot better. The lighting was a little bit better than last year. I said great, but it was only a little bit better than Madden 20s. In terms of the gameplay, like I said, most of the stuff was still the same. But in terms of things that I definitely noticed is that the players were more aware of other players on the field. So that's a great plus for us, me and Rob, for when we take pictures at the end of games, because now guys are going to be out the way. They're not going to be sitting there running into each other and still keep walking while their face masks are touching. So that's a great thing that we're not going to have to deal with. And another thing is I do feel like the game runs a lot smoother than last year in terms of like how the players move. Also, the quarterbacks, I really feel like this is the best area of improvement from what I've seen, because the quarterbacks are not doing that ridiculous stuff that they were doing this past season. And ever since Madden 18 to Madden 20, the QB AI has been terrible. Now, for guys who are OGs of the RFL and remember watching this league, you guys remember Madden 17 for Seasons 1 and Season 2, how reactive the quarterbacks were in the pocket, and they actually reacted and made plays. Scrambled if they had to, threw while on the move. LC3, Jabri Jackson, those dual threat quarterbacks had their best years to an extent in that game. I think that this year is going to be the year where we get back to that, because the quarterbacks were way more aware in the pocket. They ran. They just were not stiff. They were not just sitting there like totem poles. And they were actually moving, actually making good reads. Another great thing I realized about the quarterback, they made the release a lot more faster, which is going to be great, because that's real football. I've seen some people complaining about that, talking about Madden, the release is too fast. It's going to be, well, that's how the NFL is. That's how pro football is. The quarterback has to get the ball out as fast as possible. And the throw, I don't feel, is all too sped up to that extent where it's unrealistic. It is realistic. People need to understand that, hey, if you're trying to make a realistic game, dudes need to do realistic stuff. You can't ask for things to be real, and then when they put it in the game, you don't want it. Okay, yeah. So that I feel has ruined this game to an extent on some things, but I feel they got it right in terms of how these quarterbacks throw the ball and how they're reacting. Now, there's still some things where they can improve on that too, because I seen Patrick Mahomes literally while I was doing Sims run straight to a defender on the outside. He was getting away from someone else, but it almost seems as if he didn't know that the guy was there. That rarely happened, but it did happen. You know what I'm saying? So, another thing I realized is that the ball carrier moves, like if your guy next year, I don't think we're going to see so many like juke moves from guys who don't have juke moves. I think you're going to see a clear difference from somebody who has the moves compared to somebody who's just okay or don't have moves, because those guys who can juke, they're going to be able to juke and do it faster and move and make bigger plays. In terms of guys who catch the ball not good in the open field, they're not going to look good now, open field. In terms of, I guess, user play, because I did play a couple games with the user play, my breakdown on this is that all you guys who used to be those linebacker Nazis in terms of picking off everything, usering, that's dead. You're not going to, unless you get this, a good linebacker to an extent. Even if you do this, it's not going to work like it did before. But with this new change of direction rating, if it's not good, your guy's going to be stiff as a board, like plankton.
That's actually one of the things that actually might get me to play in it again. I used to play in a ton of leagues and everything, and one of the things that always deterred me from wanting to even play the game, man, was that right there, the usering players, taking a linebacker. And I used to be in leagues where guys would take a 60 overall linebacker with 90-something speed and run from left to right, and they got so good at it makes it not fun anymore.
Yeah.
When someone can do that, take a guy out of his zone multiple times, you know what I'm saying, and dart toward things and, speed burst and everything. So that's one of the things that may actually get me to pick up the sticks, if it really works, So
Yeah, and I think it definitely is good to the competitive side because now, like you said, you're not going to have dudes covering 2 to 3 routes, and it's going to be it's going to be realistic. So I think it's going to be a good play. Another thing, I'm pretty much getting through the positives of this game, but I did do some negatives too. But one thing I really liked in terms of the quarterback as well is that these guys were literally throwing dudes open. I saw like Tom Brady release the ball on an out route while the guy was still running straight. That ball was out by the time he turned around. That ball was in his face. Like, I'm talking about these if you have a good quarterback, it seems, with good awareness and just a great quarterback in the RFL, looks like they're going to be really hard to stop completing passes because them balls are going to be coming out to the point to where even the defensive back can't react. So I've seen people talking about the coverages being kind of broken down on it, but I think it was due to the fact they increased the ability and the awareness of the quarterback to get the ball off and with a faster release. But another thing is, to the defense of the defense, I think zones are still broken and more broken than they were before. So hopefully that's just something in the beta and they tune that. But the zone defense in this game was atrocious. Hopefully they fix that, and I know that they added that new zone depth thing. But as a CPU gamer, I don't see how that's going to be getting used. They just need to find ways in a base game to make it where guys are playing better zone defense. Period. But some other subtractions from this game: offensive line, still guys running by linemen, not blocking right, missing blocks. Running backs from left side trying to block somebody on the right,
terrible.
Nobody does that. That is so unrealistic. Let me tell you, for running, like, for a guy, look, I've been in a lot of really good offenses while I was in college. Well, really only one, Wesley, because Del State was on some other stuff. But in terms of Wesley, like that was like one of the top offenses in the league, and in college, in terms of D3 football. But you will never see a running back, and maybe in some cases this happens, but no running back is going to go line up on the left side, set to block somebody on the left side, and then, somebody's coming on the right, let me go across. Nobody's going to do that. That's going to you're going to cross. No running back's going to cross the face of the quarterback and try to block on the opposite side like that. That's why the linemen are so messed up in this game, because there should be at all times where linemen, look, I'm not even a lineman, but I see them. I saw them for years practicing this. Mm-hmm. Linemen block as a cohesive unit to one side, right? Yeah. In the back or the tight end blocks the opposite way. Yeah. That's how blocking works. Madden, these dudes are just doing whatever they want to do out here. They're just dropping back. Oh, he's coming. Oh, he's right in front of my face. And then even when they're in front of their face, they don't even put a hand on them. So they need to make it where these guys work together. You know what I'm saying? Like the linemen do not work together at all. They literally just stand up and just block whatever. Yeah. And there's like no assignments at all.
I heard another thing too. Justin Jones was playing the game, and I heard him say, "Oh, they reaching out now. And I just started thinking of Eric Reese. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Shout out to that Eric Reese upgrade with the reach out stuff. I heard that's a thing now.
In terms of the reach out, those things did look nice, man. Those reach outs did look nice. It rarely happens, so don't think it's going to happen every play. Yeah. But it still happens. Like I seen Todd Gurley and Lamar Jackson a couple times, man, right at the 2-yard line, like fight through, go underneath and reach the ball. Like that stuff looks. When we see that in the RFL, it's gonna be fire, man. Like I like those, and I didn't really see it too much for first downs, to be honest. So I don't think I paid attention to that. They got celebrations in the game, but once again, who cares? Especially, I think we are going to get a variety of different celebrations to an extent for the generic guys. I know guys typically don't play Madden that way, but hey, that's the way we play it. And I think there'll be more celebratory in more situations, and we'll be able to get a lot more cleaner pictures and things like that. But in terms of the game, man, it's pretty much the same game, with just more polish. That's pretty much my whole takeaway from the Madden 21 beta that I play. Hopefully they get more things together when they release it officially.
Nice.
Yeah. So with that being said, you guys know what time it is. Rob, what we do here, you already know, but we're going to be open for questions. If anybody got any questions they would like to ask, if you see anything interesting, read it out. Unfortunately, I can't read them because my phone's dead. So if you see anything,
my thing is delayed. Let me go on this other computer here.
Okay.
And see if I can get a better. I guess I can close this out. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna go to a better computer here and see if I can get the stream to be a little bit more up to date. It seems like we're a little bit. They're a little bit behind, or we're
okay.
Behind,
I got my chat up on my computer. Okay, cool.
Okay.
But still, if you could get that set up too, just in case. I see Jacob Reed says linemen in Madden attack when pass block. That's definitely facts. You don't usually, pass block. You're supposed to drop. You know what I mean? You catch it pretty much.
Yeah.
You don't attack on a pass block. So I mean, games just all around, and it's kind of sad. We talk about features not being in the game. Oldenburg, man, you were an NFL lineman, dude. You should know how these lines work, man. I just hope that he fixes that area, man, because these linemen, there's no reason that the linemen should be doing this, because I have not seen, even when they said they addressed it, I have not seen any change whatsoever in how the linemen perform on the field.
We got Ray Jerry says, what do you think of the new cornerback group of Lancers? Will Ambrose and Corrigan make an impact on the team?
So the Lancers we're talking about here, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm on my game right now. So let me go to the NFC side and get a look at these cornerbacks. He said cornerbacks, right?
Yeah, cornerbacks. He said, what do you think of the new cornerback group of the Lancers? Will Ambrose and Corrigan make an impact on the team? That's a good question. Let's see if...
Okay, so let's go ahead and get a look at these new cornerbacks. So, wow. Got the in-game Madden up, and not bad. I think they'll be pretty good, but I still feel like it's still like the same core. You know what I mean? It's your top guy is still DeJuan Fells. I do feel like cornerback is still going to be an area of struggle for you guys. Now, these guys could perform and still do great. Got some good speed, especially this Tyrone Anderson dude. Only 24, 76 overall. This is definitely going to be somebody in the future, I think, that can develop to be a solid 80-plus overall cornerback. With great speed, 96 speed, man, and 91 accelerate. That's great. I think he's actually going to be pretty good in coverage. DeJuan Fells, he did the okay job too. But I definitely feel like with this unit, it's something that's going to have to develop over time. It's just something that's, it's not all the way there, in my opinion. Especially when you look at receivers in this league. If you don't have a good cornerback core, you are going to get fried all day in this league by those top high-flying offenses. And even looking at your team, teams in your division, you got Agramonte with the Marshals, the Desperados. I don't know what's going on. I know Chase Mason took a heavy hit. Might be the last time he even plays, or if he plays at all, depending on what Coach Hooks is going to do with him. But they got some pretty good receivers as well. Especially Tavion Hall pretty much counts as a receiver. So, it's definitely going to be a challenge still, I feel, for you guys. But I feel like there's nothing really too much that you can do with this area. Maybe you can draft at this area, but you still got some young guys. But I feel like this is a unit you're going to have to build. You're going to have to build this cornerback core over time. And that's one thing I want coaches to understand is a lot of coaches try to build their team instantly. It is not going to happen in a year. It is not going to probably happen in 2, possibly even 3. But if you give your guys time, understand that you got young guys who are like 21, 22, 23, 24 years old, and they're like 70-something overall, and you're trading these guys away. That's your future. And you're technically doing it for draft picks, but you're going to do it for the same. You're going to do it to the same guys you just drafted. You know, so I really feel like that's the type of coaches I'm looking for, and you know, I hope that the coaches start looking at it that way, because you know, when you signed up to be a coach here, your objective was to be a long-time guy. You know, you're supposed to be all in for the league, not feeling like you're only going to be here for a year, so you got to win automatically. You know, it's not going to happen in this league, and a lot of coaches in their first year found out the hard way. You know, but like I said, this is just a unit. Looking at this unit to answer your question, I think it's gotten a little bit better in terms of depth, but it's still going to be a unit that may struggle next year up against those top-tier offenses in the league.
Next question is from Hustle or Nothing. He says, can you go over the signing day process?
All right, so with the signing day process, on the 27th or the 29th, I don't know why I'm forgetting, but I don't have this stuff in front of me right now, but it's either 27th or 29th, I believe, that we are going to have the signing day where we're going to try to make something live so that you guys can, you guys can officially choose where you want to transfer to. Another thing I did not think was added for you guys to know is that with the signing, you also, once we make your player and we got everybody going where they need to go, you will have week 1 to also make a decision to transfer elsewhere. Okay? And the reason why we brought that up is because I really feel like that's a way for guys to understand, like maybe if they stayed and there's 2 guys there and they see week 1, they're not getting no action, then it's like, you know, I really got to bounce out of here. And the main reason that rule came into place is because of Tristan Price on what accidentally happened last year when he was with Florida State and he got transferred to West Virginia. Did not pan out too well for him because he didn't get no playing time like that. He was splitting carries. But for you guys, you know, it's not the AI. You guys can be able to make better decisions. So, yeah.
Do you think I should mention the D105 mod at all? Do you think there's anything we could do with that at all? Or?
So I guess what we could do is give a plan here. But this will not happen anytime soon until we get like serious staff members that have PCs, and only PC guys can help out with this. But I don't think it's something we could get done by next year. We're definitely not doing it this year because we already have everything set. Next year, I don't think we'll be able to get it done either. The year after that, probably not, but it's possible, you know. But we're looking for pretty much PC guys to stream games, because what will happen, is this new mod dropped. I think it's got over 105 colleges, don't it?
It's like 105, whatever, 107, doesn't matter. 105,
yeah, whatever. So what I did with the 105, I just pretty much split it in half from 104, and that amounts to 52 games that has to be streamed a week. Now, me and Rob, what we planning on doing is having it where we use literally every D1 college that's in that game. So instead of being limited to 32 teams, you guys will be able to actually be a part of to choose any D1 team on that mod. So I really want to expand to that. But the thing is, 52 games a week. There is no way in heck we're going to be able to do that. And I see Lito Loso said it's 107. So that right there, just to take away, I'm pretty sure they got some some all-time teams or some stuff on there that'll probably, like, just to get an even number, let's say, 106, so that'll be 53 games. Okay, so say we got 53 games. 6 of those games will be taken from me and Rob on RFL. We'll be able to stream those games live with commentary on the RFL page. And we're planning on making a separate page where all those 52 games, well, the rest of those games, which will actually drop it down to 47. So 42 games will be streamed live on that channel. And you guys will literally still be able to see a full season of your player on any of those teams. And I think that would be great for this league. But the thing is, that is a ton of streaming, and we need PC guys in order to do that. That will not be a possibility for us until we at least get, I would say, if we could get the same amount of guys to do that we have coaches, or if our coaches can hurry up and get a PC even to do this as well, there's a better chances of us being able to do that at a faster time. But it's so much stuff that I'm planning on that is a possibility, because honestly, that would require all 32 guys to just stream 1 to 2 games a week, no more. So it's very much possible, but we need to have enough people to be able to stream 1 to 2 games in 53 games. 47. So I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah. Noah Underhill says if the Monarchs Thunderbirds trade was so lopsided, why was it accepted? And I don't think it was really. It's up to the imagination. It's up to the viewer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of that, man, I honestly did not like the trade, but I can't take away from what Kozera was offering. The trade, when you look at the trade itself, it's not a bad move in terms of what the Thunderbirds were giving up for what they were receiving. But what made it so bad is that what was it doing for the Monarchs? Now, really, I wanted to decline the trade, but we have a trade committee. I do get to override the committee and decide, like, flat out myself to be like, look, no, we're not accepting this, period. But I left it up. And to be honest, guys have been always talking to me saying, look, man, I can't stream. No, I can't. We can't allow people to just be able to we got to give coaches the opportunity.
We can't save everybody, guys.
We can't save everybody. Yeah. So coaches got to be able to have some type of wiggle room to do what they want. So I decided to do that for that, even though it was a terrible move, great move for the Thunderbirds. But that's why that trade went through. But honestly, I would have declined it.
Did COD look like it had an impact in CPU versus CPU? If you think it's just a factor when using, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it's the COD. You can tell a difference. It is definitely not only in usering. So you could see, like, for instance, when I was streaming games with the Ravens and the Chiefs, you could see a clear difference in what the running backs were doing, how they were moving. If they had good change of direction, they were actually hitting holes and just moving through the line smoother. I think it definitely has an impact from what I've seen.
Jacob's asking about would you guys get a independent reporter or two to do a mock draft or competing mock drafts? I brought the idea up to Mix, and I feel like it would be great publicity for the league. Yeah, so Jacob, I wanted to expose the whole reporter thing because I'm actually I came up with the whole concept of getting trying to get the RFL playoffs to have the voiceovers. You guys heard the guy talking about greatness and stuff like that. And so, we do have the voice actors. It does cost money, but I'm on it, man. I'm on it. I'm not sure if we'll be able to do it this year, unfortunately, but we're getting there. We're getting to a point where we want this to be as real as possible, and I am not ruling out paying for voice actors to narrate a few words here and there over certain players and stuff like that. I think that would be cool. Mm-hmm. Not to replace Commissioner Smitty, though. Obviously his voice is better at this stuff, but we could jazz it up a little bit, man. Get a little Tom Hankerson in there, get a little
Tom
female
Hanks.
reporter. I think guys like female reporters and stuff. So, we're aware of that, and that's definitely something that we're looking into.
Yeah. So in terms of the mock drafts and stuff like that, I mean, if guys. Honestly, we just don't got the time to do that. The main staff don't have time to work on that. But if you guys want to work on, if anybody has somebody who's an insider who knows about the league, if you don't know about the league, don't try to make a mock draft. You don't, you don't have enough intel of the players that's in the draft or the team. So it's don't make a mock draft unless you know about the league and stuff. But if you want to make one, post it up. I'll retweet it and share it.
Botch Galupi wants to know when we can put RFL coaches' faces on their coaches. Is that possible in the mod? Yes, it's very possible, Botch Galupi. But listen, man, you guys can't be out here with pizza sauce all over your face and everything, and looking all crazy and stuff. You're in a dungeon taking pictures of yourself and stuff. So there's a lot of things we have to get straight with that, man. But I would love to have the coaches' actual authentic looks, who you are in real life inside the game. That's highly possible if we have cooperative coaches who can go and get great pictures of themselves.
Yeah, and it's going to be a great demand. I'm telling you guys right now, and I've talked to the coaches about this, and I like being straightforward and keeping it real for guys who are trying to be a coach in this league. Just know we're not going to. You need to be on par with doing and handling your business. If you don't have the time for it, do not apply to be here because you will be released fast. For guys who've been here, I've been giving multiple warnings before this league started to grow and we've got a lot of people wanting to get in here. You need to get on your stuff because I'm releasing guys left and right who are not able to do what is needed for this league. And I think everyone needs to be on par of everything because we see what this league is becoming. And I refuse to have someone be a part of this if they do not put in the effort or have the same passion as I do and everyone else who takes this league seriously. So make sure that you guys are on your stuff and doing your stuff. So in terms of stuff like that, if you can't take a clear picture, if you don't show up to your stuff, most likely going to be released anyway. But if you're when we give a direction in terms of something like that, and we're working on this coaching server so that coaches can be more informed of stuff going on, but still you guys, should know this stuff. But in terms of that, man, we still got a lot to work on before we get this thing to PC like we want. I'm just telling you now, we got a lot of stuff to work on before we get this stuff to PC because, we got to make. I'm just not even gonna say it all, but we just gotta make a lot of stuff. And if we have the time to do the face scans, then we'll do that. But if not, then we won't have it next year, but we'll have it the year after. But it's a lot of work, man. It might literally take us 6 months to finalize this move over to PC to look like what you saw in the Relocation Bowl. But that's my answer on that.
Roland wants to know the top RFL wide receiver cores in the league. What do you think about that one?
I mean, I think we pretty much already know them. The Explorers, the Huskies,
Cougars.
Cougars.
Oh, wow.
Celtic Tigers.
CT.
It's a good amount of them.
Let's see. When will we know if our player is confirmed for season 7 in the college series? You're gonna know that automatically, right? That when
once you apply, you're already confirmed. Guys, if it said that you paid, you put your $5 in, we got the application. You're good. You don't need any extra confirmation from us. The only thing you need to reach back out to us about is if you did not get a Discord invite and you want to join it. That's it. If you paid, you're in.
Bachi Galupi wants to know if Drake Crowell regressed. Oh, yeah, he regressed.
Yeah, Drake Crowell regressed, man. Went from a 93 to an 87. But I think that number just is a number because, the guy still got crazy accuracy. So I think he'll still be doing things. But this will, I would say, officially be the last year of Drake Crowell coming up.
Hey, look, I wish I could just play the rap album Still Dre. Right now, after you saying that, it'd be a perfect segue right now. But yeah, he's definitely an 87 overall, man. But when you look at those attributes and stuff, man, hey, I think he's still gonna be. I think he's still gonna be a little bit of a force.
Still gonna be Dre.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Let's see. Vincent Valentine wants to know: are season 7 submissions allowed to change position or transfer positions before the season? That's already answered.
No. Once you've submitted a guy, whatever position that is, it's got to stay.
Yep, got to stay. Can we make minor equipment changes during signing day live stream? Probably.
Now, I won't be creating. I won't be creating that live in front of you guys. I'm just trying to know who is all going where, and then after the stream is done, I'm gonna work on building you guys in the game. So you guys. And I'll have a stream probably afterwards to show you guys what I have. And if you guys want to make those adjustments, maybe I might be able to do that. But once it's set and the season begins, man, we are not doing equipment changes. It's too many people. It's too much going on. We're not going to be able to do any equipment changes throughout the season. So whatever you start out with, that's what you're going to have throughout the series.
Shout out to Vincent. He says he's a PC guy. He'll message us after the podcast about helping out. Salute to you.
Oh, great.
Hustler Nothing says thinking about getting a gaming PC soon. Let's see. Bachi making jokes. Haha. Let's see. Looking for who? Me? No, I didn't like the joke. Okay. No. Jacob. All right. Shout out to you, Jacob. Let's see. All right, so Amir says, because of the new COD rating, will you allow Season 7 players who are affected by the rating swap out a rating with that one if they want to? It's kind of all over the place.
Nah,
So
won't be able to do that.
put a rating with the one if they want to. Okay, I see.
Yeah, I won't be able to do that for you guys. What I will do instead is pretty much offense. Elusiveness got took out for the rating, so for offense, elusiveness will be your change of direction. In terms of defense, I'll pretty much have to figure out how that compares. You know what I mean? Like, just got to look at that and then make that adjustment myself based off of how the player moved throughout the series before we jump to Madden 21. Because honestly, when the series first starts up, we're not going to be on Madden 21. We're going to be on Madden 20 still first. And then once they make the college mod for Madden 21, we will transfer over there just as we did in last year's college series. We really only got time for a few more questions, so
Okay.
let's see what else we got in there.
Let's see. Let me just scroll down a little bit because it did get behind. Is there anybody else? Ready for PC now. What days of the week will college series games be aired?
Pretty much the same schedule. It'll be Monday, Thursday, and Saturday for premiere, Sunday for, Sunday to cap off, but actually it's Monday to cap off. Pretty much the same exact schedule as the season this year.
What's the matter with Baja Galupi always asking crazy questions? I just noticed that was his question. I skipped Razier's question about Tilsky. Will a computer, you think an RFL team will sign Simon Tilsky?
Nah, I think he took a pretty bad hit. Dropped down to an 83. It's a possibility, but, look who else they still got. And if they're going to sign him, I mean, they got Winkler in there. I don't think they're...
Yeah. And it looks like that's it, man.
All right, man. Well, yeah, it's been an eventful podcast here, man. That for sure. Didn't have Bill on, but got my man Rob in the building, man. Honestly, man, you did an excellent job, bro. I don't know why you don't hop on these. You should hop on these, man. But hey, honestly, I feel like you could get by it, man. Definitely could get by it. Yeah, because I feel like the vibe here, guys rock with you, man. So yeah, I honestly feel like that would make the podcast even better. Bill, Rob, and you two on there with me. I think it'll be that'd be great, man.
Well, I learned how to. I think I can connect my my whole rig to the PlayStation now. So obviously I'm on this headset here. I look like John Madden in the booth right now. the black John Madden right now. So yeah, I think I have a way to rig my good mic together. So I think I might be available. So we'll see how it goes, man. There's no throwing tomatoes at me though, guys. I'm not the one for it. I bite back.
Well, that's it, man, for the podcast. Great podcast here once again with my man Rob. Appreciate you guys coming out showing love. We had 44 likes on this, man. Over 40 plus people came through, man. I know it's been a while. It's going to be a little bit of spaces before we have content, but not too long. 9 more days, and there'll be draft time. I think we'll have one more podcast before the draft next Wednesday. And then, so get ready, man. Can't wait. It's your boy Smitty, RFL Commissioner and play-by-play commentator, along with Rob. And I will see you guys next time when we get back on. Peace.
Good night, guys.